Philadelphia. Well, yeah, the season's over. And I'm going to tell you when the season was over. All right, Kyler? It happened the second the Eagles put that hype video out. It was the most depressing thing I've ever seen in my life. It actually made my hype video or audio a lot worse. Because the second that I heard it was a hard season, or whatever they were saying or trying to say, I was like, oh, man, they think they're going to lose. Did you feel that way, or is that just me?
I felt 100% the same way. It's starting off the hype video with, this season was hard, and we did this the hard way. I'm like, what are we doing? What happened to the B-Doc 2017, let me run through a brick wall belief of this team? What happened to that? Even last year, I thought it was pretty good. Like, let's hunt. Yeah. Like, let's hunt somebody down. This year,
that's right.
It's hard. We're sad. We're depressed. We got through this the hard way. But we won the division, but it's hard. I'm like, come on, media team. Come on.
Were they trying to tell us to give them cookies now? Because, like, hey, we got nothing left. The media team
even knows how bad Kevin Patullo is, and they couldn't even justify it. Right. My goodness, man.
Like, and that's where, I guess, of course we're going to start. Yes, you and I believe Kevin Patullo, along with 99.9% of the Eagles fan base, knows he's going to move on at this point. Mike Garafolo basically said as much, where, hey, Nick's a really loyal guy. I expect him to be back if they beat the 49ers. And they didn't really even come close to that. They just did the same old shit. And here's where I keep coming back to. And I think this is where we're all getting crossed up as a fan base. It's not going to fix this issue. Whatever's going on here is not going to fix this issue. We had a major turnaround in, I'm going to say, philosophy over the last couple of years. Like, this wanted to be a running team this year so bad. It had no chance of doing that. It's asked its quarterback to throw more. It's not prepared to do that. And I'm not saying Jalen isn't prepared to do that, but the offense isn't. It was miscues all over the place. I don't think Jahad Dotson lined up in the right place more than once in the entire year. The offensive line is hurt at best, and that's what we're hoping for, or completely lost. That is not an offensive coordinator, my friend. There's so many more things that I think they have covered up with their talent that it's masking the conversation of where it goes from there. Because I'd obviously love to get your thoughts on all of this. But at the end of the day, no one is going to come in here that's brilliant. You're not going to get a Mike McDaniels. It's going to run his offense, and then suddenly everything is fixed, because that doesn't happen here. And if you are wondering why I'm so adamant about that, I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints, and their 20 to 25% of their passing plays are crossers or their corners or posts or something. So that tells us that Kellen Moore didn't even touch his offense when he was here. Yes, an experienced play caller is going to make this a lot smoother. And clearly, Nick Sirianni didn't even feel comfortable enough to bury his buddy and go, hey, you don't have it this year. I got you. We'll figure it out next year. I think that would have been a much easier thing to do. It would have sped up the clock issues. There wouldn't have been much second guessing. And I don't believe Jalen audibled to great things when the play wasn't there. And I'm not solely blaming him for that. There's only so many limited options for this year of what this offense could do. I feel every part of A.J. Brown's frustration for the last 2 years. This is a Nick thing. And I do believe the Eagles have to seriously consider what just happened here. This is the second time that it wasn't a full collapse, but God, it wanted to be. And nothing improved throughout the entire season. Nothing has improved with its players in the last 3 years. Since 2022, I don't remember Nick Sirianni elevating anybody or anything. The things that have happened to this offense have happened because of Howie Roseman. You had A.J. Brown come in. You had a very bad down year after that. You got Saquon Barkley in here to mask your entire offensive problems. And now there's no hiding behind it between coach, quarterback, and offensive coordinator. And I'd say that's where we're at. I think this is 3 years of saying it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And it finally came to a head, Kyler.
100% agree with you. First of all, I'm just going to get this out of the way now. I'm hurt. And I said this to you earlier. This is one prime Eagles year that has just been wasted and thrown down the toilet. Because whether we want to admit who's going to be on this team next year or not, or debate or talk about it, at the end of the day, having two 1,000-yard receivers and a 1,000-yard rusher and a tight end who had 11 touchdowns this year. That is pretty, I mean, technically, it's pretty good offensive production, really. And it's just one prime Eagles offense just thrown down in the toilet, especially defense, too. I mean, man, this defense was so good all year. Still believe this was a Super Bowl caliber defense, no matter what happened yesterday. I still 100% believe that. There's so much to unpack of what you just said. The main thing that I want to hit on is I'm 100% with you. I have no idea what this offense or how much this offense is really going to change. And you made the Kellen Moore point in New Orleans. There were some games where I was kind of watching the Saints games a little bit more closely just to see what the difference was. And Kellen Moore was able to elevate Tyler Shuck over there in New Orleans because Tyler Shuck has some ability to do that. And I understand Tyler Shuck is young. If we remember, the Saints were supposed to be a first pick team this year just based off roster. That roster over there is old. They had salary cap issues. And Kellen Moore was able to get them to, I believe, 5 or 6 wins. Whether you can draw that up to scheme, elevating, whatever, but I believe that Kellen Moore was really able to elevate Tyler Shuck. And Chris Olave had a great year over there. He's coming off of concussion history. So, yeah, I'm fully with you. I have my doubts on how much is this offense seriously going to change because Nick Sirianni, unfortunately, has his fingerprints on it. And if we're going to be honest, one of the worlds that I could see is the classic Doug Pederson route. If they have meetings at the end of the season, and Nick is adamant about keeping Kevin Patullo, Lurie and Howie are not, kick the can, Nick. Thank you for the ring, but kick the can. See you down the road. See you at the Super Bowl reunion ceremony in 10 years. I'm sorry. I am there at this point with this Eagles team. If your final play of the season, Jahan Dotson running a post route and your 11 touchdown tight end running an in route and you oh my word, I'm losing my mind, John. I'm losing my mind. Hurts throws it over the middle in triple coverage because that's the only route that is even close to even being open, and it's not even open at all. Well, it's not even close to being open. If that's your final play of the season, that is abysmal. It's disgraceful. It's disgusting. It's been disgusting all year. And it was maddening to watch this offense for 18 weeks straight, having somewhat of a belief that, hey, I've seen a half of it. Maybe they'll put a full game of it. And they can't do it because this high school, elementary school offense couldn't do anything in the second half.
And that's what kills me,
John,
dude, is because you think exactly what the 49ers offense is going to do on that opening drive, and they do the exact opposite tendency breaker. No one, and I didn't even think of this. That's why you got to, tip your hat to Kyle, even though he fucking kills me with his decisions sometimes. He goes right after Quinyon Mitchell because no one's done that all season. Every single offense has waving the white flag on their opening drives, basically. Ever since they shifted into Adoree, you're going to cover the short side of the field. And you're thinking there's no way they're going to come out throwing with this wide receiving core who's been banged up, and you've got one actual starter and a bunch of practice squad guys, and they cut you right away. That was the difference in the game, is that they scored first. No one thought that they were going to score first, including Nick Sirianni, including Vic Fangio. That whole entire stadium was ready to shut them down and have the offense take the field. And they did. Outcoached in every single phase. And Vic Fangio did exactly what we thought he was going to do. He takes away most of the middle of the field, and they still found those pockets where Brock could lay one in there and make amazing throws to do some of those things, but they were the ones that ended up making the big plays. And that's what's frustrating as hell, is how for those same 18 weeks do you go, once we get to the second half, we're going to show everything that we have shown Robert Saleh on film for fucking 17 weeks. It was like paint by numbers at that point. And you just go, all right, that's my biggest issue with Nick, is if he is caught in a bad place, he's going to turtle up unless he's got major help,
Yes.
And that
or a
is
2,000-yard rusher.
Or a 2,000-yard rusher. He's going to turtle up the second that happens. There is no way you can look at that and be like, this is Browns, Jets, Cardinals style offensive coaching. It's inarguable this year. When thinking about all this again and just reiterating the point here, I think you have to consider firing Nick Sirianni, because I don't think I've said that yet in this episode, but that's what I'm saying. I know that Kevin Patullo's on his way out, and I'm hoping that what Kyler said happens. I hope that he is so loyal that he loses his job then, because I can't do this again another year. I swear to God this is true. If Nick and this group comes back, I don't know how interested I'm going to be in the regular season again.
Well, the other world I was going to bring up to you, John, is, and the reason why I say this is because if you, and I put this in the Discord, if you listen to Devontae Smith's post-game comments really closely, I thought it was very interesting. And I think some people are going to blow past it. I could see a world where they keep Kevin Patullo back for this reason. Devontae Smith, literally said in his post game, this might just be him being a nice guy, but I'm just going to take it for what he said at face value, that Kevin Patullo was not the issue, and it was the player's execution that was the biggest issue all season long. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely not. Kevin Patullo should have been fired this morning at 5 a.m. Should have happened.
He still might. We'll see.
We'll
see if this key card still works in an hour.
I hope. I hope. And again, I don't think Eagles fans are ready to hear that, but I could see a world where that happens. Unless I see that tweet by Adam Schefter, I am not going to get my hopes up for it. I'm not.
I know that Vic doesn't want to be a head coach anymore, and that's fine. But you could bring in Mike McDaniels and Vic Fangio as a crew if you wanted to and do it that way. To me, that's the only way you're going to evaluate what Jalen and his career is going to be able to do in the next 2 years. I also think there's a major conversation after this year where you go, all right, do we want to give Jalen that third and final contract? Because that's what you have to. And this is nothing against Jalen at all. This is just on the clock of Howie Roseman. You know, there is no way that this man is able to sustain like a 49ers program, like a Baltimore Ravens program. This is not sustainable. None of this really is. In the same way that we feel Kevin Patullo is a collection of plays, Howie Roseman is pretty much that when he runs his organization. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's bringing us Super Bowls. But you have seen this group now together, and it has either been first round out or Super Bowl. There's no in between.
None at all.
It's not like
it's baffling. It's baffling to me. At least be consistent in one way. You know what I mean? It's either be great, let's be a dynasty, or let's just suck. You know what I mean? I hate this inconsistency of it.
I wonder, well, I don't know. I probably not, but I'm just going to wonder out loud. I wonder if the Eagles are finally ready for someone to just take care of the program again. You know, because this is old Chip Kelly ghosts that are hanging out. Are you able to put someone in here that actually has its own system, that wants its own identity? Because I feel like that has been the biggest slip up from the front office, honestly. They don't allow their head coaches to have any form of identity. I'm not even really sure if Doug Pederson had one either, other than it's a West Coast offense and it runs really well and they got good plays. It's the same thing of when we saw him go to the Jaguars and realize he doesn't have a lot of tricks in the bag. They have hired guys that don't have tricks in the bag. They do one thing really well, and they feel as though they can control the rest of it. And for the most part, I can't argue with that. But you're always going to run into this part. You're always going to run into this. They lucked into a quarterback that they found. I don't know if we want to give credit to Nick for developing that at all. I'll give him some. But yeah, I don't think that there is a way where we're either going to get this OC who comes in and is brilliant, or this head coach that's going to be able to manage most of the 53, if not the 90. And that is it's a pretty impossible task in Philadelphia. So I'm not complaining as a fan that I don't like this. Like, this is fine. It just sucks that in this form, we know that every other year that they don't go to the Super Bowl, just mail it in. Because nothing's going to happen. You know?
Exactly.
Some form of drama or surprise. Like, I wanted to be surprised against the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, there it is. And none of us got it.
And I was so delusional to think that maybe they were holding out, maybe just waiting to get to the playoffs to really just throw it in. And I'm going to be honest with you, in that first half, it was great. You had Devontae Smith catching jet sweeps, Dallas Goedert on one of his touchdowns. That little handoff, I loved it. I loved the creativity down there. I thought the creativity in the red zone was amazing all year, and I find it no coincidence that we were the top red zone offense all year. I don't find that, and whoever designed the red zone plays, my word, can you do that for the open middle of the field?
I'm going to go ahead. I have a feeling that's Scott, by the way. A combination of Scott and Kevin.
Bring Scott back. I got no problem with Scott Loeffler. Whoever it is, they know what they're doing, clearly, and they've been doing their research. Another question that'll pose, and I'll pose to you is, I'm assuming, and I'm just going to use his name, but just for this argument, do you think Mike McDaniel and Vic Fangio still don't have beef after their time in Miami for them to not even consider bringing him in here to the relationship of Vic?
I didn't even think about that. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think, again, it's probably not going to be Mike McDaniel's first choice either, because he knows he can't do his thing. So, but any form of that, I'd be down with. I think there would be somebody like Kevin Stefanski if he didn't get a head coaching job, or any one of those guys that's hanging out, Cliff Kingsbury, because everybody's been saying that too. If he wanted to do a combination of that without Nick here, I think that would work a lot better. I also don't see that happening, but
I'll set our record if and the reason why I say Kingsbury is because they literally interviewed him for the OC spot before they hired Kellen Moore. So I think that relationship is pretty important there. I would be totally fine if Kingsbury came in here. And the reason why I say that is because in Washington, he did a lot of up tempo and a lot of get to the ball. And in the first half, you saw the Eagles do that, and it was very, very successful. I was watching the play clock throughout that first half, and Jalen was getting to the line about 15 seconds versus getting to the line about 5 and having to snap it. Like, that stuff matters. And Tom Brady was constantly saying it on the game feed. Getting some continuity and getting this up-tempo offense is so important to catch his defense off guard, who this defense, by the way, was one of the worst defenses in the playoffs, and they were dealing with 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th string linebackers on that field, and we could not do anything to exploit that. Could not do it one time.
One of the biggest ones, speaking of that, it just popped into my head. Tom Brady is literally drawing out, like, hey, you see this huge empty hole? I think it was on one of the 4th and 4s or 4th and 2s, and it ended up being an out to Devontae Smith, who was completely covered. And you're just sitting there going like, guys, whoa! There is literally nobody in the middle of the field. You can't audible to it. You can't call a slant. You can't say, hey, guys, hey. They're giving us the middle of the field. Nope. Run the play that's there. It's just like they audible at the worst times and they don't audible at the worst times.
I just don't know what they're telling Jalen. I really don't, because if you watch that play, he literally snapped the ball and didn't even think about reading the field. Didn't even think about looking like at any of his reads at all, and threw it right to Devontae Smith on that out route, and it got easily broken up. That is so elementary. Hey, just throw it to this guy. Snap it, throw it to this guy. Snap it, throw it to this guy. Our quarterback, just say, hey, as soon as you snap it on this 4th down play, huge 4th down, just throw it over to Devontae Smith. No matter what happens, no matter what coverage that they show out. As you can tell, I am fired up this morning.
And that's been happening all year, too. I just come back to that. If you don't trust the quarterback, then have the balls to get rid of him. If you don't trust the coaching staff, have the balls to get rid of him. I'm happy to be wrong on either one. I think it is more Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo. I think I'm with the majority on the fan base. I also know that Jalen Hurts has his faults, and we are reluctant to point those things out. You can't have an offense where you go, well, we can't trust Jalen to do this thing, and then you can't have a quarterback go, am I doing my thing or am I not? Like, it's just a bad situation for both of them, I would think. And that is what the lesson that I've been taught this year is exactly that. The sound clips matter. When Nick Sirianni on Hard Knocks, after a Jalen touchdown where he's super fired up after the Raiders game, is telling him, what about the play design? Give me some props for the play design. Clearly, Jalen fucking hates it. He wouldn't say it otherwise. He wouldn't have said that line otherwise. I can't believe we missed that, by the way. That should have confirmed to everybody. It's like, oh, yes. And this has been happening since 2023, which is why I am a little mad at the reporters on how they have drawn out this story. I don't think they have liked each other for a very long time. Yeah. You wouldn't have these leaks from both sides coming out this year when I would say a lot of the Eagles staff and front office didn't believe that Jalen Hurts could bring them a Super Bowl last year. I think there was a lot of people suggesting that, and Jalen proved them wrong. So now you're at this fuck you stage, and that's what it looks like to me. Is that what it looks like to you? It looks exactly like that to me.
It's kind of a weird standoff. It feels like to me. At the end of the day, going into this offseason, do I really think that Nick will get fired? If I had to put money on it, I don't. And I don't for the reason of they're just going to look at those wins and be like, hey, he just wins. I just think that that's what their philosophy is going to be. And again, I think that's what they're going to base off. I could see them going the scapegoat route of 2023. We'll just fire the offensive coordinator, bring somebody in, and let's get this thing rocking and rolling. And I was a little encouraged because I was waiting to hear somebody ask about KP and him going, well, I thought KP did a great job this year. We're going to evaluate everybody and blah, blah, blah. So basically to not try to throw KP under the bus. But he did directly say everybody's on the table, like getting evaluated. Gives me at least some sign of hope. He was very adamant at saying the explosive plays have to be better. Clearly, Nick, they've had to be better since week 5. Clearly. So that's where I'm at, John. And that's the worlds that I'm seeing.
I think we're pretty much there, too. Like, I don't believe that they will fire Nick Sirianni, they probably have to do that or trade Jalen. Otherwise, this is going to be another Howie project of, all right, well, let's go find the best talent possible to mask the coaching part. You need an honest answer out of Jalen, out of Nick Sirianni's circle, in my opinion, at this point. And I'm just going to reiterate that again because I don't want anybody to get confused. I am not suggesting that I want Jalen Hurts replaced by any means. I'm just looking at the next 2 years of his contract, and I'm wondering if he makes it to 30 years old with a new deal here. I don't think he does. It's not how Howie Roseman has operated in the past. He came to a decision with Carson. He decided we're going to pay and try to figure this thing out. It didn't work out at all. You've got one more year to evaluate Jalen in that sense. I think you've got to give him the cleanest plate possible to do so because you're not losing anything with Nick Sirianni. You're not losing anything. What are you losing? The culture that he built? Go fuck yourself.
That clearly wasn't a factor whenever you have him and A.J. Brown going at it on the sidelines. Throw that garbage out the window. That tough detail together, the last part, they're not together. They're not together. You're that either, unless really you're the defense. But they're not together. That's one of his things that he preaches, and they're not together. You can't have your wide receiver and your head coach clearly heated beefing on the sidelines. Like, the only thing I can compare that to is Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, but they've been together for years. Those are two proven guys. Just try to play it off like it was nothing, and I don't buy that at all. I think that was pent-up emotion from AJ all throughout the year. I don't buy that crap.
I do, because you can hear him mouthing, get off the field, and AJ saying, I'm hurt, or something. Like it goes on that play where he's laying it out, right? And AJ comes up a little gimpy, so I think it was just like, hey, man, I wasn't trying to dog it. Yes.
So it's like, you don't see him arguing at Mailata, do you?
No, no. But that to me, that's another answer, right? The AJ stuff is absolutely true, and they did go rogue at some point during the season because that's that frustration you're talking about. Why are you laying into him so much? Because he feels that AJ is not together.
Clearly.
So he's got to try and keep them together, which is also stupid. That's not how you should coach A.J. Brown at this point with the relationship being the way it is. I actually felt that was maybe frustration from, did they pull one of these already? Did they go to A.J. Brown when they weren't supposed to? Because Devontae Smith was open on that crosser. So I don't know.
From what I've heard.
I don't know. That could be detrimental to anything. So, yes, and we haven't barely even touched on that, by the way. We're just assuming that A.J. Brown is gone. I think he is gone. And I don't know how you get out of that contract, but I know you're not going to get much back for him. But
I'll go the opposite with you. I think that Howie will listen to offers. He wouldn't do his due diligence if not. 28, 29 years old. He is getting near his 30s. He did have a 1,000-yard year, so really feel like teams, I think the Patriots is just a easy target for that. And I think he'd be dumb not to listen to it because Howie always listens, whether we want to believe it or not. He'll always listen. I believe that he'll listen for calls for Jalen Hurts just to hear him. At week 1 of 2026, do I think that A.J. Brown will be here? I do.
What's funny is I think he's a Pittsburgh Steeler, a Carolina Panther, or maybe a Dolphin of some sort.
Saint?
A Saint would be a good idea. Somewhere where there's a decent quarterback and a better offense so he can just get the ball all the time. I don't think there's any way he's coming back this year. Why would you? And if you're going to, like, a laboring hamstring issue, this is now going to be like your third season in a row where it's going to be a laboring 1,000 yards because, like we were saying, wasn't an easy pitch and catch 1,000 yards. What is he giving this team? Not A.J. Brown the individual. A.J. Brown the individual's got plenty of gas. I'm sure wherever he goes, he will look way better than he is here. We are still chasing Jalen and AJ from 2022. We are still chasing that. And it has been gone now for at least 2 seasons. The passing tree, the chemistry, all of it. Like, that is not, none of that is worth holding on to. His contract, what he provides for Jalen.
I did see to add to your point, I did see a tweet yesterday. I can't remember who it was from at all, but I did see a tweet yesterday that targeting A.J. Brown yesterday, Jalen Hurts had a 52 passer rating. Really, really interesting.
Because the only fucking routes he runs in this offense are the go balls, fades.
But that's everybody. That's everybody.
It's not everybody. It's not everybody. A.J. Brown used to cut across the middle like it was his job. Now it's non-existent. It's not even in his game plan. If you look at any Tennessee Titans tape, that's how they were so successful. It's almost identical to fucking Derrick Henry and having one wide receiver and Jalen Hurts as your quarterback. It's the same thing. Oh, shit, I just realized he's going to be a Baltimore Raven. He's totally going to be a Raven. You don't have John Harbaugh to deal with. They've been looking for a number one wide receiver with Zay Flowers. There you go. They are just going to recreate Smitty and him with that combo. He's going to be a Baltimore Raven. That's the easiest trade in the world for them.
I don't know who's going to be here next year and who's not. I have no idea. And that's the weird part about it.
AJ Brown, Kevin Patullo. Done. Next. Who's next?
I'm really talking about really hammering home all the free agents. At least like with last year, for the Super Bowl year, I had really just a big belief for this year. I really did, because I thought there's a lot of contracts that aren't going to expire yet. You don't have to pay all the defensive guys yet. You just won a Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley is still here, and he clearly adds another positive element to this offense. And I was, just like we all were, I mean, my hopes for this year were at least divisional round. At least. And I understand the OC thing was a huge issue. Just considering the roster that was here and the roster where you kept 95% of the guys on the roster, besides a couple that left. The ones we knew that were going to leave, like a Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, who already have their waiting in the wings replacements already on this team. And by the way, I'm glad that Mike put this in the Discord. Shout out him.
Always.
By the way, Jahad Campbell played one defensive snap yesterday. One. That's your first-round pick, and he can't get on the field. Now, again, I know N'Kobe's out there. I get that. But he's your first-round pick, John, and he can only get on there for one defensive snap. One.
And you lost your other pick to injury, too. So it's just been a brutal year in terms of Landon Dickerson. I feel terrible for. If you heard him in the locker room of everything he's had to deal with this year, you got beat up for, I don't want to say nothing, but you got beat up for a short playoff stint. You had Lane Johnson stick on the roster because at any point he could be ready. And I understand, I'm frustrated that he didn't go on IR. He should have.
Yes,
that is a no-brainer.
100%.
And
that's a major miss by the medical team there.
Well,
major miss.
Here's where I'll give perspective. It's Lane Johnson. He's the oldest tenured, obviously except for Brandon Graham coming in there consecutively for seasons, the oldest dude in there. He is the Jason Peters of that locker room. Okay? He has, as an employee of the Philadelphia Eagles, he's done everything mostly right in his entire career. He's the only guy out of that draft class that was worth a shit. So when you're putting it like that and saying, I can be on the field and I want to be ready to be on the field in case you need me, I understand it from there. I don't know who you're bringing on to replace Lane Johnson, not even an offensive lineman, but just anybody else to the roster that wins that 49ers game instead. Is there anybody? I don't think so. You know,
not at all. Not at all, especially on that offense. Not at all.
That's why, yes, go on IR. It makes the most sense. But not being able to use the facilities while you're on IR and get out there to possibly practice or warm yourself up whenever you want to, I understand. I'm okay with that. And that's another thing. This probably, more than likely, means Lane is done.
I was going to bring that up to you.
Big percentage that like 70-30. I still think there's a possibility he would come back. He's just like, I don't want to leave it like that. At the same time, I think it's going to really depend on what they do this offseason. Really depends.
Kelsey and Fletch left after the collapse. Like, it's totally possible. It's totally possible. That also adds to my point. I have no idea if Lane Johnson will be here, and that is a huge I have no idea. Because he's a Hall of Famer, Eagles Hall of Famer easily, and the stat goes, you win, 70% of the games that he's out there?
Yep.
Like, that's a huge and shout out Big Fred too. I thought Big Fred played really, really well whenever he had to fill in, and I really think Big Fred is a great, at least a great backup piece, and I'd love to see what he does to try to actually get a starter spot in this league. I like Big Fred a lot, just considering what he's had to deal with throughout the last 2 years. But
who knew he'd be a starting right tackle this year? You know, it's just crazy.
Shout out Jeff Stoutland. Shout out Jeff. And I know Jeff probably had a rough year just considering how the O-line's been, but man, I thought the first half the O-line looked amazing. The tush pushes on the pushes should tell you how good that offensive line was playing in that first half. I mean, that's a telltale sign for me. They were mauling that defensive line for the Niners up front. I mean, Saquon finished the day with over 100 yards and 4.7 a carry.
Yep.
And I think Tank had just like right around 4. That should be enough to win you a playoff game, especially rushing wise. It's just the passing concepts held this team back.
If I gave you all the stats for the year and the stats for this game, you would be okay with that, not knowing the context of what happened. But since we know what happened, it's all dog shit. You know, like the fact that Saquon has over 100, they have 2 turnovers. Quinyon Mitchell, it's just an absolute stud after that first drive, gives you the game. He gives you the fucking game. And they can't do anything with it. It's so much deeper than the OC. We've been saying it all year. I just keep coming back to that. And the one thing this did give me like positivity in is that Lane stat, is all of these things. It is not to discredit Lane's, if he wants to play, I want him to play. It also makes it a lot less scary to go, ooh, man, who should we get to replace? No one can replace Lane, and no one can, but there are guys that can play football at a pretty high level. And if you got to come in with Fred next year and then go draft another tackle, that's okay. You're probably going to have
fine with that.
Yeah, you're probably going to have an RT problem for 2 or 3 years, if you want to call it that. And you're not going to replace Lane Johnson in this draft class. No way. I don't care what anybody says about all the offensive linemen. And this is what troubles me, too. This is more big brain shit. We can get into it later in the offseason. It is finally coming to a head that no one really knows how good these players are in college anymore. No one knows.
It's
one
unbelievable.
is going to know because of the record-breaking, I'm going to guess it's going to be at 1,500 kids the next time that the portal date happens. Like, you've got guys that are stopping national championship runs, whatever level they are, to get into that portal. It is over, baby. So, like, I think the Eagles are actually way ahead of this. I'd like to see them execute it. And what I think they need to do is just keep pulling from college in terms of coaching staff, in terms of just because they're going to have the best information possible. And they're going to know how to coach these kids. I think it's over for the Petes, obviously. It's way over for Bill. If you are not in the Jim Harbaugh era of coaching, I think it's detrimental to what's coming in now.
I find it ironic that we ended up with the same exact record as the collapse and the same exact result. And one of them felt way worse than this year.
You just explained. Wait, Kyler, you just explained why though. There's only one reason. There's only one reason why this didn't collapse like that, and it's because Vic Fangio knows how to use a Dory Jackson. Because that's where I was going with that. You made an excellent point. He didn't want a Dory Jackson here, and he still made it work. You know what I'm saying?
Like Fangio,
there are guys that he wanted that made the thing go, and then during training camp, he's like, oh, Jesus Christ, the Dory Jackson. We'll see.
Cannot have Keely Ringo on the field.
Can't have Bennett on the field. Can't have anybody else. So you're like, all right, well, this is what we're going to do then. And our season came down to if a Dory Jackson or if Sidney Brown was on the field, the defense was going to look a lot worse. And he somehow held that ship together. So, yeah, Kyler, I appreciate you joining me this morning. As always, we're recording this on Monday morning. We would love your thoughts. As always, the Discord is lively, and it was miserable this year. But collective miserableness. Like, no one was being a dick. We were just all fighting about how miserable this team was, and everyone ended up being right about everything.
Ryan in the Discord had he had a couple of his moments, especially yesterday against Mike. That was pretty comical.
Dude, but, that's what's great about the in-game threads is because if Ryan isn't on fire, then something's wrong. Same with Cato. Like, I actually felt good that he was so mad and miserable. Like, all right, this is good. We got a small chance here. But
right, yeah. No, I'm with you. Listen, man, it's been and I know it's only been like a couple episodes, but I love this community, and I love and no matter what happens at the losses, I mean, no loss can ever compare to the community that's built and that we've created. And that's really the best part about this. And so I think when you have that bigger picture in mind, it makes it a little easier to digest and to know that, hey, look, like, it sucks right now, but we still have this collectiveness of, hey, Eagles football, baby. And it's in our blood, and it's what we love, and we get to talk about it. And it's a joy to do that.
When I wake up in the misery of the Eagles and know that Ryan and Taboo and Mutt and Mike, fucking Pusha and everybody else that's in there in the morning, Tia, Regnok, who I always pronounce that fucking wrong. Stand.
I do too.
I have no idea what that means. I just go like, yeah, it's a character of some sort, and I just love the interactions that we all have in there. It's great because there's so many smart people in there, and we're so dumb with our emotions, and that's what makes it great. Chris is one of the most professional business people that I've ever met in my life. He's given me so much great advice throughout the years, and like the way he just goes off as the two old men in the room, it brightens my day. Honestly, to everybody that bought hats and everything too this year, China and the tariffs are back again, baby. So we're figuring out the next phase of like what we can do with that. And who knows, man? I have no idea where this is going to go, but there's one thing is for sure. I love talking about the Eagles still. I don't want to make them my life, but I do want to like make this more hanging out with you guys. Like I think it's just fun. Media's in a weird place. If you want me to just go on a diatribe for a second, media is such in a weird place that they're ignoring the fans. I don't know if you guys feel that way. It feels icky to me. Sports for me are kind of over in terms of like I want to make it a career. Sports are here because I think this part's fun. I think the Discord has probably heard that ad nauseum in terms of a fucking father figure I'm turning into, but it's just true. I don't get it. I don't understand what everybody wants out of the clicks and the all that stuff. I enjoy this part. I enjoy meeting new people. I think there's so many different voices out there that we don't understand who could be really good at this thing. Either don't realize it or don't have an opportunity to do it. So I'm still trying to figure that out with Kyler, with Mike, with everybody else. With Mutt, I want to make, I'm talking about making like member seats and stuff like that so there can be a little more communal power and less like me waiting on me because there's too many things going on over here with kids and God knows what. So you feel that way, though? I just feel like sports media, specifically Eagles media, is in a weird spot right now.
Yeah, I agree. It is a weird time to be a sports fan just for a multitude of different reasons, but you really have to dig deep and really dive in on what is real and what's accurate and what's not. And I think that's way more discreet more than ever. And you can get into the whole AI stuff too and making up stuff and all that garbage. Yeah, I'm with you. And it's we were having this debate in the Discord yesterday about I believe that there's some reporters like Adam Schefter or an Ian Rappaport that needed to be held accountable for the Lane Johnson stuff. And I know that the team's just feeding them information and they have to report it. I get all that. But to have constant weeks and weeks of inaccurate reporting and to have no reprimations from it, I don't know. To me, that's a prime example of sports media is just in a weird spot. Yeah, I'm with you. But just like what you mentioned, like I love the meetups aspect of everything and of the community. We're just all crazy fans just trying to get together for a common theme, and that's to cheer on the birds, and I love talking about it, clearly. So
me too. And I don't want to be put in a place where like I can't call out one of those media members because the job requires it. That was very uncomfortable for me. Like I want to have fun and I don't want it to affect my pocket. So this is the best way I can think of, and I appreciate you being here, Kyler. I appreciate you listening, of course, and we will see you in the Discord. What do you think? We should have a Kevin Patullo pizza party when he's fired? That'll brighten everybody's day up, right?
I'll be the first one at the door. I'll even chip in on the pizza if you want.
Yeah, that might be a fun thing
Which
to do.
Which pizza brand do you want? Papa John's? Domino's? Little Caesars? Which one?
Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear that? That is the Midwest. Can I just emphasize that real quick? That is the Midwest. Oh, my God.
100%.
My wife doesn't understand this because, like, we were watching Goonies the other day, and there's a Domino's pizza box at the end of that movie, and she's just like, man, that's such a weird thing to me. I go, that is the reason why Iowa John ordered Domino's and is a loyal Domino's guy to this day. Like, I saw the thing as a kid. We have no pizza shops in the Midwest. You can agree on that, right? There's not one lick of, like, a mom and pop shop that has a good pizza place. It's all shit.
Dude, back in April, and I know we're getting off on a tangent, but back in April, I took like a little mini trip to Philly, and then I took a train from Philly to New York for a day. and it's my first time ever going to New York. And I tell you what, man, I had my first New York slice, and it literally changed my life. I was like, dude, the Midwest stuff doesn't even touch a candle to this stuff over here on the East Coast.
So imagine like me only having and experiencing Domino's and thinking that's pizza, and then moving here in 1995, and then realizing the same thing of just like, there's all this pizza around Philly, there's all this pizza around New York, and I can't even look at it. And this happens all across the Midwest. So what I'm asking every Eagles fans is, please, can we just, I think it's our goal to at least bring Kyler some good pizza when we see him next year at some point. Let's just get that together, you know?
I will gladly take care of it.
I don't know how you feel about this either, but we will fight the good fight about Chicago pizza actually kicking ass and taking names, and I'm not talking about deep dish. I will put up the Chicago pub pie against any fucking New York place ever. All right? Okay? It's crispy. It's delicious. It's wonderful. And that's my final thoughts, guys. That's pretty much it. Kyler, we'll see you when the news breaks, my friend. Thank you as always.
Of course, brother. Thank you for having me on.